I'm Lindsay Boland, Senior Product Manager on the Alexa Games team. Our team aims to bring new tools to our game developers to help drive innovative gameplay on Alexa devices. Today, we are focused on our first product aimed at increasing social discovery of and engagement with our games. With that, welcome to the future of voice gaming, introducing social gameplay, where we will be discussing how to add asynchronous social gaming mechanics to your game, as well as introducing our new extended mic timeout feature for games. I'll start off with an introduction of our asynchronous multiplayer capability, which is built off a new API called Shared Activities. Then you will hear from the team at Sony Pictures Entertainment on their first impressions of this new capability. Finally, Gaurav Varshney will share how the API is implemented to unlock multiplayer in your game, as well as introduce another key gaming update around adaptive mic timeout. We believe social features are an important next step for gameplay on Alexa. Broadly speaking, connecting players with each other helps to amplify games via organic discovery, as players invite friends to play and thereby extend the reach of your game to new potential players. The addition of social features can also increase engagement, as customers have more ways to play beyond a solo player experience and may spend more time taking their turns against friends and family. Social features may also act as a powerful retention driver, as customers are pulled back into games by friends to play a new game or take their turn in an existing one. This is why we are bringing new social gaming functionality to Alexa, starting with asynchronous multiplayer gameplay via our new Shared Activities API. Alexa customers will be able to invite friends and family to play a game with matchmaking using the Alexa comms list. Player identity is handled by Alexa, so a developer simply hands off a matchmaking request to Alexa, and we will work to find the right contact in the customer's contact list. When a friend is selected, we will turn to your skill so that the player may take their turn. At Amazon, we obsess about our customers' privacy, so we'll ensure players have agreed to share their information with you for multiplayer gameplay before sending you the match. During the multiplayer round, users aren't directly connected to each other, and they don't have to be active at the same time. Instead, each user takes a turn at different times, and then Alexa shares the results of the turn with the other user in the activity. The next user performs a task, and so on. This is stored within the shared activity object, and the state, tracking who is next to take an action, is managed by Alexa. This removes the burden of building systems to track this from the developer, so more time can be spent focused on developing the gameplay itself. A shared activity allows you to create persistent, private copies of the skill state shared between two Alexa users. In a turn-based game, the shared state might include the names of the players, the current position of pieces on a board, the current score, and a record of which player goes next. The activity logic in your skill stores activity attributes in the object to share state between skill sessions of each participant throughout the life of the activity. Most importantly, with asynchronous multiplayer, a player must know when they have a new invite, or it is their turn to play. When you update your shared activity and indicate a change to the participant state, you also set a status update to describe what happened. The status update contains text and an optional image. After you update the participant state, the Alexa service generates a message to the newly active participant, inviting them to join the game or take their turn. Then, the message creates notifications on Alexa-enabled devices and a push notification on mobile devices so that a player never misses an invite or their turn to play. The message becomes a permanent part of the message history between participants in the chat view of the Alexa app. Subsequent status updates add the new text message with the latest information, giving both customers a place to catch up. As the developer, you have the ability to control when a shared activity ends, so it doesn't need to be at the end of just one game. This makes prompting for rematches and keeping your players engaged very straightforward, without needing to go into a matchmaking flow again. We've just begun sharing details with our partners and would like you to hear from Paul Jaffe, VP of Games from Sony Pictures Entertainment, who will be one of our first partners working with the shared activities in their game.
Hi, I'm Paul Jaffe, Vice President of Games at Sony Pictures. We've been working on Alexa since 2016 when we released the Jeopardy skill. Soon after that, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? We're super excited about the social experiences such as asynchronous multiplayer with the Shared Activities API. We've taken a look at the documents, and it's a super lightweight implementation. State management, matchmaking, identity, all taken care of by Alexa. We really just need to focus in on a great user experience and delightful social play. We're going to add that to Jeopardy, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and 2 other new games this fall. We can't wait to watch users come in, invite each other, friends and family, and be able to play voice games together for the very first time. Now, I'm going to hand it over to Gaurav, who's going to walk us through the implementation of shared activities.
Thank you, Lindsay and Paul. Hi, everyone. My name is Gaurav Varshney, and I'm a technical product manager on the Alexa Skills team. Our team is focused on building a common set of tools and primitives that helps developers deliver powerful voice experiences. I'm super excited to be with you to discuss the Shared Activities API that will allow developers in the gaming community in 2021 and later in other categories to add social experiences onto their skills. So let's start by discussing the concepts of what a shared activity entails in 2021 in the context of a simple trivia game being played by our friends Jane and John. In this scenario, John wants to invite Jane to play a game of trivia. Talking about the 3 biggest components of this experience, let's start with first, matchmaking, which is a fully managed workflow that allows John to navigate his contact list and identify a contact to challenge. Second, turn taking, which is managing the multi-turn gameplay experience, keeping context, and managing state storage, so that your skill can keep track of both players' scores and activity and manage next steps. Thirdly, messaging. Again, a managed component that allows your skills to send the appropriate messages to both Jane and John in order to make them aware of a completed turn or end of the game. So let's begin our journey through matchmaking. Once the skill understands that John wants to play with someone, it hands over the control to the Shared Activities service to find a match for John from his contact list. Here's a small section of the code to look at how you can leverage our managed matchmaking component. You can hand the interaction over to Alexa by using Amazon Create Shared Activities task. Alexa will seamlessly take over and request any permissions required to share with contacts, ask for and clarify between contacts that sound similar to identify the right person that John wants to challenge. We have put a lot of energy to make sure that customer privacy, which is of paramount importance to us, is preserved while offering a rich voice experience. You will receive the intended contact's name without the need for John's complete contact list. After matchmaking and creation of the shared state object are complete, Alexa sends a response that indicates the success or the failure of the request. If successful, the response body includes the shared activity state object identifier. Here's an example of the object created. It includes several parameters. 1, the shared activity ID, which is a globally unique identifier that represents the shared activity instance. Second, a list of participants and participant attributes, including their IDs, that you can use to keep track of all the activities in which the user is participating. If there are multiple activities for a user, your skill can customize the experience accordingly. You can use the participant names in the object to address them, but please note that these are ephemeral and can change if they update their names. Next, the object indicates the state of the activity, which in this case, as you can see, John is the current player and Jane is waiting for her turn. Lastly, the object also contains shared attributes. a key value semantic that could use to store custom activity data throughout the life cycle of the shared activity. Now that you have the participants set, let's talk about managing turn taking. Once John completes a turn, you need to update the activity object in order to indicate that Jane can now play, along with a notification. Here we have set John's state to waiting and Jane's state to be active. This serves as a record for you and an indication for the player who can play in the current round. As you can see, you can customize the shared attributes to keep the score or store any other attribute relevant to your game. Let's talk about the final piece, sending messages to players. When you update your shared activity and indicate a change in the participant state, you can also set a status update to describe what happened. The status update contains text and an optional image. After you update the participant state, the Alexa service generates a message to the newly active participant, inviting them to join the game. Then the message creates notifications on Alexa-enabled devices and a push notification on mobile devices. A message becomes the permanent part of the message history between the participants in the chat view of the Alexa app. One thing to note is that while you'll have complete control over the message, the shared activity service will determine when and how to deliver the status update. I just want to close by pointing out that while we at Alexa are focusing on building the highest quality user experience for matchmaking and messaging, we want to give you all the right tools to customize the player journey and create a truly delightful experience. To develop a great shared activity, take some time to design the activity, determine data to store and share, and the flow of the asynchronous turn taking. You can define different types of shared activities in your skill and store a variety of shared attributes. For example, in a game, you may want to define an attribute for play style such as speed and survival. I'm looking forward to seeing all the amazing experiences that you build using the Shared Activities API. Next up, something that I'm super pumped about as an Alexa user. I see an opportunity where extending Alexa's time to wait for responses can make playing our favorite games even more natural. And to make that happen, I'm excited to announce that we are launching Adaptive Mic Timeout. Today, one of the problems that users face when playing games on Alexa is that mic times out too soon. This means that Alexa either interrupts customers by rendering a reprompt or ending the interaction when they're still thinking during an ongoing skills session. Users currently only get 5 seconds to think before they can start responding to Alexa, which is sufficient for a quick yes or no type response, but not suited for complete interactions, such as playing a trivia game. As a result of this limitation, our skill builders are not able to build experiences that require customers to think for more than 5 seconds. We are launching Adaptive Mic Timeout to solve this problem. Now you can extend the mic timeout to up to 10 seconds during an ongoing skill session. Let's see how that would work. Skills can choose between 5 seconds, which is the default, and 10 seconds, which is the extended mic timeout, and can configure it at every turn in a multi-turn experience within the skill. Let's look at some of the implementation details to understand how you can implement Adaptive Mic Timeout in your skills. There are 2 places where you would need to make a change. First, you need to update the skill manifest by adding an explicit microphone idle timeout tag. Second, you need to update your skill code with the directive as shown in the code snippet here. This new directive is a part of the response JSON that the skills endpoint sends to the Alexa cloud. You can see that the mic timeout is configurable in milliseconds. Please note that at launch, we are supporting only 2 values, 5,000 and 10,000 milliseconds. And this applies to both prompt as well as reprompt in any given turn of the interaction between Alexa and the user. This feature is available to skills in games, food ordering, and kitchen categories at this moment. Let's recap. Today, we walked through two big updates for games. First, the Shared Activities API, which unlocks asynchronous multiplayer gameplay. I'm super excited to see how you'll use this functionality to build delightful and powerful experiences. Please sign up to get the specifics and updates on our release plans for later this year. And second, adaptive mic timeout, which lengthens the time Alexa can wait for a response from the user. You can now sign up to access this feature in developer preview. Thank you.